Hello, Disturbed Nerds, and welcome back to our podcast. What are we talking about this week, Keely?
Oh, Caroline. What are we talking about? Well, we're talking about Mulan and
I legit
Disney.
thought you forgot. You took a
How can I
second
forget?
there.
I literally have a document in front of my face right now that tells me what we're talking about. I'm offended. Even if I didn't have this doc, how could I forget that we were talking about Mulan and Disney? Like, I'm so offended.
Okay.
All right. Now that we got that out of the way. So, how did you feel when you first heard that there was going to be a live action Mulan? You know, Disney's been doing this whole live action thing. Don't get me started on The Lion King. This whole live action thing for a while.
Mhm.
So how did you feel about the whole live action Mulan?
Well, I actually really enjoyed Beauty and the Beast, mainly because I like the extra scene that they add in with the plague doctors and just having all that information gives a little bit more background to the beast. Like, he's not just this raging dick. There's actually a partial reason as to why he's like that. Gives a little extra backstory. But when I first heard about Mulan, I was like, okay, first off, everyone's first question, what's the cast look like? And then second question was, all right, what's the soundtrack going to be? And then Disney was like, nope, it's not going to be a musical. And everyone just lost their minds.
Isn't that the truth? But I have the same concerns about you because we know what happens in the film industry is that things get whitewashed. Always happens. And all of us were concerned about Mulan being live action and Mulan being played by a cute little blonde white girl. And so I was a little iffy at first. Actually, I was more than iffy. I was a lot iffy because I was really worried about the cast. And then they released the first trailer, and I saw the most beautiful cast ever. And it was perfect cast. And everyone else was like, everyone blew up at the fact that it wasn't going to be a musical. And I was like, I'm so done with musicals. I'm so okay with this not being a musical, okay? I'm
Musicals have a special place in my heart. I can't.
like, okay, now don't get me wrong. I love musicals. I love The Sound of Music. I love Burlesque, The Greatest Showman, Rent. I love my musicals. But sometimes not all movies need to be a musical, and Mulan is one of those. It doesn't need to be a musical. It's already a beautiful, compelling story. It didn't need that. So, yes, am I going to miss Mushu? Because hello, Mushu? Oh yeah, I'm gonna miss it. But when I watched the trailer and I listened to the music, and you know I listen to music all the time, and I've got
Mhm.
I've got pretty good hearing, makes up for my blindness. And I
I'm the
heard,
opposite. I have tinnitus. I get like ringing.
I've got good ears, and a good nose, apparently. I'm like a hound dog.
You smell
But
funnel cake from 4 blocks away, okay?
okay, she's not even exaggerating.
I'm not. Actually, I'm probably underwhelming this, if
Because I actually don't
anything.
think it was 4 blocks. I think it may have been 6 blocks.
I don't
But I
know.
told
If
her, I
you're
was
not
like,
a city girl, like, it was a city block. So, in normal people terms, that's probably like 6 to 8 blocks.
but anyways, I told her, I was like, I smell funnel cake. And she's like, I don't see any. And we're walking down H Street in DC, and I sniffed out that funnel cake like a hound dog. Like, I found it. And her and Nick both looked at me like, okay, then she sniffed that out. So yes, I have good hearing. So when I was watching the Mulan trailer and I was listening intently to the music, I was like, well, wait a minute. I recognize this. They put reflection in this.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the full song, but they like borrowed the
Yeah.
music orchestra. I'm not a music person. I'm a music person, but I've never played an instrument in my life. So I don't know
But
what
I
word I'm
really
trying to
like
use.
Leah Salonga, the original singer. I love her. So I loved hearing the soundtrack and the chords from it, but I really felt like it was missing like the beautiful soul voice.
Chords, that was the word I was looking for. Thank you, dear. Um, but no, I was super excited. And,
Ah,
well, what happened? There's,
indefinite. What do you mean it's being pushed off indefinitely? Are you kidding me? We get trailer after trailer after trailer. Now, Keely, we've spoken about this before. The whole madness with the movie The New Mutants. They planned it in 2015, it was Fox, and then they were like, oh, 2016 release. But then they were like, nope, not happening. Then they were like, 2017 release, and they're like, nope, it'll overlap with Deadpool. We can't do that. And then 2018 release, and they're like, oh no, but what about Marvel? And then 2019, it was Endgame. And then 2020, the world went to hell. So the New Mutants, apparently still coming out end of August, I have my doubts, has now been in production and post production for 5 years.
oh yeah,
I
it's,
don't want to see this suffer the same fate.
no, I don't. And here's the thing about the New Mutants. When I first saw the trailer of New Mutants, which was like probably 3 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know it was a movie. I thought it was a horror movie. Like, I
Yeah.
had no idea it was a mutant movie until it literally said The New Mutants. Like, up until then, I thought it was some weird horror movie that was like also a ghost movie, and they were in a psych ward, and I was totally here for it. And then I saw The New Mutants, and I was like not there for it anymore because I was confused about how the hell that was a fucking mutant movie. Excuse my language, but
I know.
I was like done. And I really don't want that to happen to Mulan. And I was actually talking to mom, and I told her I was going to steal her idea and broadcast it on our podcast. She said what they need to do with Mulan and Black Widow is release it on Disney Plus, both of them,
Mm-hmm.
and any other thing that Disney owns that was supposed to be released, and just charge a little charge extra for people to watch it. Because guess what?
Mm.
People are gonna actually do it. I'm sorry. If
Yes,
Mulan came on
but
Disney Plus,
mm-mm.
or Black Widow came on Disney Plus, I would pay extra money to watch it from my home.
See, Disney Plus is a good idea, but the problem with streaming services is it has to have rewatch value. My concern with Black Widow, because as much as I loved Endgame and Infinity War, they don't have as much rewatch value as I would have loved, specifically Endgame. I saw it twice in theaters and I was like, okay, I'm set. Like, I don't need to watch this again. I hope that's not the case with Black Widow, but I'm worried that if you do something like that, it won't have rewatch value. Plus, commercially wise and marketing wise, it really does need that full theatrical release because they put so much money into it. They'll never make their money back off of Disney Plus. Mulan, maybe, especially since we saw what uh, video on demand did for Trolls.
Mm-hmm.
So for Mulan, it could be a fiscal success for Disney, but yeah, they have way too much money in Black Widow. They'll never make it back on the streaming service.
But like for Mulan, I think that would work because
Mm-hmm.
first of all, you got all of these parents who are at home with their annoying children, and they all wanted to go see Mulan.
Mm-hmm.
I
Even though it was
guess.
like supposed to be this super bloody, awesome
Yeah.
action movie.
Yeah. So they keep pushing it. When they say push back indefinitely, that just makes me worried that they're never going to release it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just disappointing to me. And I need them to release it because I need them to release it because I was so excited about this
Mm-hmm.
movie. So excited. Everyone's like, she doesn't have a love interest. I was like, who cares? It was never about the love interest, anyways. I mean, I love me some Shang, but all right, I'm good with him being gone. It was, I was so excited, and I just need it to be released like
Mm-hmm.
yesterday.
Yeah, definitely get a release eventually. I hope so. You brought up an interesting point about Disney Plus. Newest streaming service, it's really only in the Western Hemisphere. They were supposed to enter the bandwidth and put it in the Eastern Hemisphere. However, the world burst into flames, so that hasn't happened. There's about 2/3 of the world that does not have access to Disney Plus.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah.
Thank you for the new information. I did not know that at all.
Yep.
Caroline knows weird stuff like this, and I say weird in a fond, loving way. She just knows more about that kind of thing than I do. I'm the one who knows. I know nothing. I'm like Jon Snow. I know nothing.
Oof. That's Game of Thrones is a whole episode of its own.
And stay tuned, because that will be one of our other episodes.
Oh,
is going to
I
be
feel like
talking
that
about
needs
that.
that conversation needs tequila.
I don't like tequila.
Oh, pink Moscato then. We'll make an exception. Although I think it needs something a little harder.
Maybe. Okay, so when Disney Plus came out, you know why I was excited about it?
Hmm.
Because I could watch movies that I hadn't seen in the longest time, like the Aristocats. I love that movie. And we used to have it on VHS, and I hadn't seen it in so long, and I watched it, and I was so happy. So I like that Disney has all of their old movies on there. All of them. And then they have
Halloween Town.
Halloween Town, okay? Like I love Halloween Town and Twitches 2. All of those like old Disney Channel original movies that we used to watch when we were younger. Not that we aren't still young, by the way. But
that's subject to opinion. I don't know. You're getting old there, lady.
okay, first of all, I am 26. 26 is like the prime of life, according to Google.
Yes, our overlord told us that is the prime of life.
All right, so I'm still young, but I like Disney because they have so much content on there. So much. Like, you cannot not find something to watch on Disney Plus.
Agreed.
But also, I like that they kind of break it up too, because they've got like Star Wars and Marvel and all their old Disney and new Disney, and I think it's cool that they're trying. Disney was like, you know what, we need to capitalize on this streaming thing. And I was like, yeah, duh.
Yep.
And you know what? They made a lot of money on The Mandalorian.
Oof.
I haven't watched it.
I've seen most of it.
I've seen like 30 minutes of the second episode. I need to watch it.
You jumped right to Baby Yoda. You hypocrite.
Mom was watching it, and I was sitting out there with her.
Sure, that's the story you're going with.
It's the truth. Shut up. But first of all, Mandalorian blew up, okay?
Yes.
There ain't anyone who hasn't even, there's no one who hasn't heard about the Mandalorian. It was like, poof, everywhere. It was like, okay, the Mandalorian is to Disney Plus as trying to decide a show to compare it on Netflix.
I don't know. What really... See, that's hard. Maybe 13 Reasons Why is a good comparison, because that exploded for the wrong reasons mostly, but...
I was going to go with more recent, The Witcher.
Okay.
I think The Mandalorian is to Disney Plus as The Witcher is to Netflix. I haven't watched The Witcher either. I watched the last 30 minutes of the last episode.
It's so good. I love The Witcher. I read the books. Great story, great storytelling by the Polish author. The author himself has a great story.
But yes, The Mandalorian, whew, and Disney is also supposed to be releasing other new content, or they were, but unfortunately, filming for the Falcon and the Winter Soldier and the Falcon was halted. So we will not be getting that. Same with Loki. I don't even think Wanda and Vision.
I think WandaVision was I think WandaVision was pretty far along in production.
Oh, okay. But so unfortunately, due to COVID, I feel like we need like a code word for COVID, like something funny, so I don't have to keep saying this horrible word.
I'll put like a sound effect over it.
Oh my gosh, yes. That would be great. Do you know what I'm really, really, really excited about that Disney is supposed to be doing?
Have you heard about Aladdin?
No.
Ooh. I'm excited about Aladdin. I'm a musical nut. I love musicals. I've been listening to the Hamilton soundtrack for about 3 years, and then they put it on Disney Plus.
I need to watch it.
Listen to the soundtrack first because the actor that plays Aaron Burr, he decided to give the character a lisp that's not on the actual soundtrack for the show. And I don't know how I feel about it.
But have you not heard?
What haven't I heard?
So Disney is apparently planning on doing a Percy Jackson series on Disney
I
Plus.
did hear that. I follow Rick Riordan on Instagram, and he was like, "Guess who's near Disney? Guess who's in talks with Disney?" Like every week, and then he was like, "Fingers crossed, guys!" And then he was like, "We did it!" So
I am
excited.
so
Oh,
excited. Like I read, okay, first of all, I read all those books and I
yeah.
loved them.
I'm
Okay, you know
behind on the Norse books. I feel so bad. I
I
got
haven't read those.
distracted. They're good.
And I
They're
haven't read the
very
Heroes of Olympus one either.
Oh, Heroes of Olympus is good. The Norse series, from what I've read so far, is better than the Kane Chronicles, the Egyptian one.
Mm. But so I read all the books, and so I have this thing where I don't like the main character of any book. It's kind of a joke now because it happens, but I love Percy. I love him so much. And when they first they made only 2 movies of Percy Jackson, and
Oh, they were both terrible.
casting was horrible. The movies were horrible. They
Yeah.
screwed up Hades. It was just, it was a disaster and a half, okay? Those movies were horrible. Not as bad as Eragon, but still pretty horrible.
Oh, no,
I
see,
can at
I
least
think
watch.
Eragon wasn't nearly as bad.
No, okay, this is my problem with Eragon. Okay, I have several problems. It's not even a good movie. It is a terrible movie with terrible casting completely. I can at least watch the Percy Jackson movies because they're at least okay movies if you ignore the fact they were supposed to be books. Same with the movie Inkheart, because even though Inkheart does not follow that book, and I love that book, it's at least like a B movie. Eragon is horrible. I hate it with a fiery
Nope.
passion. You will never change my mind. End
That's
of discussion.
fine, but I don't think it was worse than Percy Jackson and the Olympians. Like, okay, first of all, the actor was like 18. He's
Right?
supposed to be 12, and Annabeth is not blonde.
They
I,
messed up the casting so bad. Like
jeez,
watching them is like I can get through them if I ignore everything I ever read.
like, and the whole thing with the mom being dragged to hell, I'm like, none of this happened. Where in your mind of minds did this come from?
Yeah. So
Who gave you creative license? It should be taken away.
it was so bad. I couldn't. Like I said, I can kind of watch them if I just like delete the fact that they are a book and just think it's some off the wall movie someone thought of. But my little brother Cameron, he was telling me, he's like, "Have you read the Percy Jackson books?" And I was like, "Yeah, I have." He's like, "I love them. They're so good." And so I messaged him a few weeks ago and I was like, "Did you hear that Disney Plus is going to be making a series?" And he's like, "Oh, they are." And he was so excited. And then after that, I gave him a whole bunch of other books to read because he likes adventure books and dragons and sharks. So he's a boy. He likes adventure. His 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 quoting him, he's like, "I don't like boring." He's 11. "I don't like boring." I was like, "Oh, okay. I don't read boring
Same.
books." But no, I don't know when that will be released. Like it will probably be a while.
I like 3-4 years at least.
But the fact that it's in talks is so exciting to me. Like I love it. Now, if only we could get. My brain totally went blank on what series I wanted to be turned into a TV series. Just
I want to see Disney go more into like Into the Spider-Verse kind of thing where it's like a darker animation, I would enjoy that.
That'd be interesting.
Especially since Into the Spider-Verse keeps getting delayed. Thank you, cinematic gods, for messing everything up as usual.
I really like Spider-Verse. Miles Morales. I watched it on Netflix. It was really good.
Last I heard, it's not the second one's not coming out till like 2024. At
Oh,
least.
that's depressing. But I liked it a lot. I was like really, really impressed. I'm really excited about the Winter Soldier and Falcon because
Yes.
obviously, you know, I have a deep love for Bucky Barnes and I love Sam Wilson. Sam Wilson is wholesome and good, and we need to protect him at all cost.
He was
And I think
literally just an ordinary soldier that got dragged into so much.
I know, right? And he's so good. But I love the idea of those two together because they really
Yeah.
don't really get along that well. But I think it will be interesting to see their relationship change. And I think it's gonna start off as some like kind of one of those little buddy cop movies where
Yeah.
they partners don't like each other, but they have the same friends, so they have to get along. And then some shit happens, and so they finally start to have to trust each other, and they become friends, but they still pick on each other because that's what they do. And they always say, "I hate you," and the other one's like, "I hate you more." But secretly, they totally would are ride and die for each other.
I just hope that they'll do some of the White Wolf stuff. We got a taste, a small taste of it at the end of Black Panther, when Shuri calls and the kids call him White Wolf. We got a taste of that transformation that we see in the comics. Do you think that'll take away from the Winter Soldier? They're the same person, but they're two very different mindsets.
I think I think that the Winter Soldier is something that Bucky wants to close. Okay, like that's a part of him that he doesn't want to be anymore. So I think it'll be interesting to see if they really kind of transition him more into White Wolf. I think he needs to have that, but I also think part of him will always be the Winter Soldier, and I think him having that Winter Soldieriness is probably going to save him and Sam's life a lot
Mm-hmm.
because and you know I love Bucky, but I always felt like Bucky was a little bit more willing to do the dirty stuff than Steve ever was.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's something Sam will need. Like Bucky's a little bit more willing to maybe cross that line because they have to for some reason. And that was a notification.
It's gonna happen. Just
But
accept
I
it.
but I also think that Bucky's really tired, and everyone was kind of was like, why did Sam get the shield, and why didn't Bucky get the shield? Because Bucky does get the shield in the comics, and then it goes to Sam. And I think the reason why the writers did that, and this is just me and my theories, I have so many theories. I think the reason why the writers did that was because Bucky didn't want to join the fight against Thanos, okay? Like, he did it because he was the right thing to do, but he's exhausted. He's been fighting for freaking 70 years, man. Like, he's tired. Leave him alone.
Also,
let him deal with his ghost.
I know he's your favorite character, but he's still super damaged. To suddenly make him into Captain America, I feel like that'll make his PTSD so much worse. Especially since he just lost his best friend because he went back in time.
He is still damaged, and I think that's why they didn't make him Captain America. So, and I think what's going to happen with the Winter Soldier and Falcon, I think what's going to happen is he's probably retired. He is living his life, and then Sam shows up at his door.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that is going to happen, but if it does happen, then go me. I'm being psychic. But I think Sam's going to show up at his door, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And Bucky is just going to be like, great, there's another punk kid that I have to keep an eye on because I just can't not keep an eye on this punk kid. He's Sam's friend. or he's Steve's friend, and Steve is an idiot, went back in time, and now he's Captain America, and he doesn't understand the weight of this shield. So now I'm gonna have to be like, all right, you carry the shield, I'll carry you. Let me grab my guns.
Yeah, I definitely think that. I also would like to see some new tech be involved. We've seen a new costume change for Millennium Falcon, didn't we? Millennium Falcon. Long fandom, Caroline.
Star Wars.
Oh no, for Falcon, we've already seen a costume change. He's going to be changing it up. I hope Bucky does too. But Bucky's had access to Shuri for a lot of this time. So it would be interesting to see what new toys he gets.
Right?
Shuri is a whole nother beast that I wish they had actually put her in the suit, in the Black Panther suit, because
I
she is
know.
Black Panther in the comics after T'Challa goes down. So I was
Hmm.
kind of hoping they would do that.
Me too.
Maybe in the second one.
Maybe.
They said the first one, it was originally like 5 or 6 hours long and they had to cut it down. So they took
Yeah,
so
I heard
much
that.
out.
Oh yeah, I heard that. So how do you feel about Loki? Because Loki is actually okay, so
I
the
love
Loki
him!
okay, well, I love Loki too. We all know I love Loki. But the
Mm-hmm.
Loki that the show is about is actually the Loki who stole the Tesseract
What
in
was it,
Endgame
2014?
2014,
Mm-hmm.
I think, or 2012, something like that,
Yeah, one of those
when
two.
he first came to Earth with Shatari.
So he's still messed up. I'm so excited. He's
I'm
going to be
so
broken
excited.
again. That sounds terrible.
He's gonna be what?
Broken again. Because he healed and him and Thor got closer and they were able to become more like brothers. But yeah, he's broken again.
So it's gonna be interesting to see what they do with this Loki because this Loki is still crazy. He's not the Loki we got to know after Dark World or the Loki we knew in Ragnarok or
Dark World.
Infinity Ward. Like
I did not like
this
Dark
Loki
World.
is still angry and pissed and broken, and
Mm-hmm.
he's gonna cause some havoc. I'm here for it.
I'm so excited. I just hope they incorporate like some more nods to traditional Norse mythology. Like I would love to see him like shapeshift into a woman just to mess with people or have like a nod to Sleipnir, the horse that he literally mothers. Like
Hmm.
just a few more nods from Norse mythology just as Easter eggs. And magic. Please include magic. Do not skimp on the magic, people.
Yeah, I would like for them to include some magic too. Because honestly, I actually think in the comics, Loki can go up against Doctor Strange. They're
Hmm.
pretty evenly matched.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting. But I kind of hope, and I don't know if they will, I kind of hope they bring Thor into Loki too. Loki,
Oh, I
maybe,
doubt it.
I doubt it too, because that'll be expensive. But it would be
Hmm.
funny if it was kind of like Loki keeps causing chaos everywhere he goes, and then Thor is just trying to get the brother who died, but now this is his brother who's not dead, and that messes up that breaks into another timeline, and he's like, brother, and Loki's like, I hate you.
Yeah. Like, can we go back to stabbing each other here?
Right?
Terrible. I don't know. If we do get anything from Thor slash Chris Hemsworth, who we know has been keeping busy with action movies, I really do think that it would be like a video message. I highly doubt it'll be an in person meeting. Or it'll be like a voice recording or a newspaper clipping. It won't be directly face to face.
But it would be, I mean, I need them to at least pull some character from that into Loki.
Yes. And you know what else Marvel is doing, and Marvel slash Sony slash whoever the
Hmm.
hell is in this deal
What are
now?
they doing?
We are getting the Fantastic Four eventually in Sony, but because they're in Sony and they're in Spider Man, so they're also in Marvel Cinematic Universe, kind of, because Peter Parker and Tom Holland Spider Man is in that universe. So it's canon. Fantastic Four is in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Well, Fantastic. I think few of the people in the Fantastic Four in the comics actually joined the Avengers, and then you have the X-Men who also joined the Avengers, and I think some of the Avengers actually joined the X-Men.
Yes, they
It's
do.
all of the teams like cross each other. Storm and T'Challa married at one point, and then there was beef between Avengers and X-Men, and that caused beef
Oh,
between them, so they got divorced.
yep.
But here's the thing about the Fantastic Four: I don't care anymore. We've had
You
three
think it's
trashy
overdone?
movies. We've had three trashy
Okay, the
movies.
original Fantastic. I actually liked Silver Surfer. You can crucify me all you want, because I'm sure you will.
Crucified.
Ugh, what else is new? So, I actually liked Silver Surfer. I enjoyed the story. I liked how over the top it was. But there's so many other villains you don't need to do Doctor Doom again.
Okay, see, here's my problem. If they would have done Doctor Doom right, that actor is
Oh,
great as a bad guy,
he's
okay?
phenomenal villain. It's how I feel about William Dafoe. Oh, like he's a great villain, but they just wasted him on Green Goblin, and I'm upset.
Like,
Not that it's a bad role for him. He would be a great Green Goblin if it was written correctly.
exactly. And that's how I feel about, gosh, what's his freaking name? He plays Cole, and he's in this movie with I think Sandra Bullock, and he keeps dying premonition, and he's also in Runaways. I can't remember his freaking
I
name.
never
Okay, now
watched Runaways. It didn't really appeal to me. I saw the
it's
trailer
bad.
at Comic-Con, and I was just like, meh.
Give me a minute. I'm looking up the actor's name. Julian Mahone. Mahone. Julian
Okay.
Mahone. That's his name. I may have not liked those movies, and I can't get through them now at all. But he
Yeah.
had it been written correctly, it would have been a damn good Doctor Doom. But my
Yes.
problem was that they messed up Doctor Doom's powers.
Okay.
Didn't quite do them right. Because Doctor Doom's magic and stuff, like he figures out it's like technology and magic, and it's kind of weird and it's kind of funny, and you're like, I'm so confused.
Meanwhile, isn't Doctor Doom in the comics like more scientific based? Like he's more Iron Man, less Mysterio. Like
um,
it's somewhere in the crosshairs.
I think it's kind of he's kind of like a cross between Doctor Strange and Iron Man, because he's like
Yeah. I was thinking
technology,
more
but he's also
Mysterio because
magic.
he's yeah, I was thinking Mysterio because Doctor Doom in the comics is always like over the top and very theatrical.
Yeah. And he was always like that in like any of the cartoons that he was
Yeah.
ever in. He was always over the top and everything.
Which I love. I will take an over the top villain every day than like the sulking, somber in the corner type.
See, I don't like villains that are over the top. I don't like villains who are all sulky. Do you know what kind of villains I
Yeah.
like?
The
Hella.
bad boys.
I like Hella. She is a villain. She doesn't mince
Okay.
words. She doesn't like go all
She
monologue. She's
was
like,
a
you're
great
dead.
actress. She was well written. Just I don't know, it felt awkward in the overall story because I love mythology. I've studied a lot of mythology throughout college. I love it. So when I think of Ragnarok, I'm obviously thinking like end of the world. Hela isn't really a part of the Nordic Ragnarok. I mean, everyone is because big battle, boom, new world. But I don't know. I would have liked to have seen more like the serpent biting its own tail, the Midgard serpent, or something a little more. I get it's based off of the comics, not actual Norse mythology. I get that. But I just wish it was a little bit more because I like Hela, but Hela is Loki's daughter, so I don't. Uh,
Yeah, but they never really
no.
ever do. They never really follow. They're like kind of a little bit with the Norse mythology, but really they're they're just from another planet.
Yeah. So,
So
segue into our next conversation. Where do you think Disney Plus is going to go? What is Disney going to do next? I have to look for a book. So, about 7 months ago, I went to a convention, no surprise there. I love them. And I got a chance to meet Michael Uslan. You might know him as one of the producers of Batman the Dark Knight. He basically brought superhero genres into the dark. That's basically what he's accredited for. I got a chance to meet him, talk to him. I have a signed version of his memoir because he was speaking. I fell in love. It was fantastic. But when I was getting the book signed, I asked him, I was like, what do you think the future is of the superhero genre? And he gave me the best answer. He was like, cultural diversity, expanding. And that's a great answer because with Norse mythology, there's a lot you could do there. I know they want to go more towards the Chinese market as well.
Iron Fist?
Yeah, Iron Fist. The Ten Rings is a separate movie, but Iron Fist was bad.
I didn't mind Iron Fist. I just wish that they would, like, they always hint at Jessica Jones and Luke Cage being a part of the MCU, but they never, like,
Mm-hmm. It's
bring
the
it
same
home.
thing with Shield. I know you didn't watch Agents of
No, I didn't
Shield,
watch Shield.
but it's the same thing. Like there'll be a season right after one of the major films, so you'll see Easter eggs from the movies, but and you're like, oh, this clearly crosses over with this.
Mm-hmm.
And especially since if you watch Agents of Shield, you knew that Nick Fury wasn't quite right in Endgame. That wasn't really news. And you're like, there should be more crossover here, but there isn't.
Yeah, that's always been one of the things I've been bothered by. Now, to answer the question you said, where is Disney gonna go? I think Disney
International. They got to go
internationally,
bigger.
yes, they got to go bigger. I also think they really need to capitalize on their series.
Hmm.
Give us more Star Wars series, okay? Give us more because people are
Yeah,
gonna eat that shit up. They
especially
really
with the sequels and how rough. Okay, the last one is bad, but the sequel altogether, the three movies were rough around the edges. I want to see more spin-offs like A New Hope. I want
are.
to see things like that, but not the big scale blockbuster. No, no, I'm fine with like B-rate acting and lower budgets. Just give me the story. We
Yeah.
still love the original trilogy that was made with clay models. Quality doesn't always have to be fantastic.
What I would love to see is I would like to see Kenobi. Okay, Obi-Wan Kenobi. I would
Mm-hmm.
love to see. I don't even care. I don't care if it's him being old on the freaking sand planet watching Luke. Give me something.
Yeah.
Give me him after, before he met Anakin with Qui-Gon Jinn. Hell, give me Ahsoka, and I will love you for.
Oh, yes.
Give me something, okay? Like, there's a reason why I like the animated Clone Wars
Mm-hmm.
because you see Anakin's descent so much more than the movie. Or,
Yeah.
like there's a reason for that. You get to see all of this stuff. Like there's so many characters whose backgrounds that we would love to see when it comes to Star Wars. They
Then,
need to capitalize on that.
but if they do the background, more importantly, talk about what happens because there's been a lot of discussion with what happens when a Jedi dies and goes to the Force. How much power do they have after they pass? There was a segment on film theory about it. Just there's been a lot of discussion about how powerful a Jedi is after they die. So I would like to see that as well. Let's learn a little bit more about that process.
Capitalize on the series. I mean, come on, everyone ate up the Mandalorian, okay? Like,
Oh yeah.
oh yeah, give us more like that. Like, people are going to love Loki and the Winter Falcon and the Winter Falcon. That was
That's
funny.
the third time you've done that, by the way. That's the third time.
That is their ship name. My bad. The Winter Soldier and Falcon. Now that I got it right. Sorry, I read so much fan fiction.
Oh,
That
that's another episode. is talking about fan fiction and how things like with Sonic, how powerful a fan base is.
Oh yeah, yeah, so powerful. Anyways,
That's going to be a fun
we
one.
could right. We also need to talk about ships.
There's been wars fought for less, Keely.
I know, right? Helen of Troy ain't got shit when it
No.
comes to us fighting
Cleopatra?
over
Nope.
OTPs.
Cleopatra? Nope. Helena of Troy? Nope. But oh my goodness. If we talk about shipping anyone with Captain America, or if we talk about shipping anyone, it's just, if you watch animated shows, you know the Shiro ship, and you're like, Shiro, Adam. There's gay ships, Shiro, Keith, and then there's straight ships, Alora, Shiro, and it's it's hell.
People get crazy when it comes to ships, and now here, and I'm not going to say anything else because again, that's like an entire different episode. But as I was saying, people
Yeah.
are going to go crazy when the Winter Soldier and Falcon are released, and Loki and Wanda and Vision, because you know what people love? Superheroes, Star Wars. We're
Which
all
is
really basic, boring
fascinating.
people, and we love superheroes. Do you know what I would kill for?
What's
A
that?
series, a mini little series about Captain America going back to put the freaking Infinity Stones back.
Yes. I hope, because we know down the pipeline, Marvel has their What If series. So
Yes.
I'm hoping they do something with that. Because I would love to see that, especially if it's like, how does Steve stay there with Peggy? Because obviously that would cause problems in the timeline. The writer of the show, the writer of the movie and the producer of the movie cannot decide if he disrupted the timeline by going back and staying with Peggy, because that's where he was supposed to be anyway. He was a man out of time. It's
But
just
here's
funny.
what
The people who created this movie can't decide. I love it.
we'll have to save an entire episode on how I feel about the whole time travel thing and how all of that affects. Because when you think about it, there's like 3 different timelines now. Because you've got this one, right? You've got the one where people were snapped and then they got back 5 years later and then did right. But you also have a Loki who broke
Yeah.
out 2012, 2014 with the Tesseract.
Yes.
That is another timeline. And then you have Captain America. Anyways, so I want new content from Disney Plus. I want all the content. I need all. Obviously, that's
I
not going to
want
happen.
more mature animated content from them, because I love the animated content from Netflix. She-Ra, Voltron. I like the more mature, but not like the Family Guy Big Mouth. Like, there's a line of, okay, this is serious, but it doesn't rely on immature jokes to get its point along.
Yeah. But that's what I would like. I would just like them to really capitalize on what they have. Okay,
Yes.
give us more, more, more. I want more.
Which they're going to have to if they want to keep it alive, because guess what? People can only watch Hamilton oh so many times. That number might be 32, but they will eventually stop watching. They might watch Aladdin a few times once that's added, but people need more content. It's the same wall that Netflix is hitting. It's just, you either have too much content or you have not enough. With Netflix, there's so many things to choose from. A lot of them are now originals. So it's like, all right, what do I watch? There's almost too much, and you're like, okay, well, now I don't want to watch anything. But when I first got Disney Plus, I was like, I kind of want more, like you were saying. There's not enough content. Yes, it's awesome to watch Halloween Town and Twitches 2 and go back and watch Wizards of Waverly Place. I love it. But I also want new content as well. You got to give it to us, Disney. Don't just focus on the blockbusters. It's the little things too that'll keep people there, not just bring them in.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I like nostalgia. Like, there's a reason why I rewatch Charmed all the time on Netflix. It's nostalgia. And this kind of reminds me of a conversation I was having with Paul the other day because he got pissy because the Lord of the Rings only had the second and the third on Netflix, right? And then he couldn't find it anywhere else. And he really wanted to watch Lord of the Rings. And he's like, we have all these streaming services, and none of them have the Lord of the Rings. And then Mom was like, we own the Lord of the Rings on DVD. Like,
Yeah.
Mom and I were talking, and I was like, what I've always been curious about, is because, first of all, the reason why things get taken off Netflix, Hulu, and all the other things is contracts. Also,
Licensing. Yep.
also, how many people are watching that movie, okay? Like,
Mm-hmm.
Netflix, Hulu, all of them, they want to make money, right? So if no one is watching The Lord of the Rings, then they're not going to keep it on there.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of need to dive more into how they actually like figure out who's watching what and how do contracts work because Charmed has always been on Netflix.
That is another conversation. I could give a whole class on how the licensing contract agreements work. First of all, Netflix very, very rarely and seldomly shares their metrics, their numbers on viewership. However, they recently did a few weeks back. They released some of their biggest hits and the numbers that they got. I only remember because it showed Chris Hemsworth's Extraction as the number one movie at the time.
That's a
But
good movie.
it is. I didn't think it was number one on Netflix though. Like it was good, but it wasn't great. It's kind of like watching Rambo. You're like, it's good, but it's not great.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is. But back to that. I could definitely teach a whole class. So we will have a discussion on contracts and how they decide what content they want and how Disney owns 60% of Hulu after their Fox deal because people don't realize that not only does Disney have Disney Plus, they are also the majority shareholder of Hulu. That's a problem. So I think we're going to see court cases on monopolies and antitrust in the future. There already is one with the big tech companies. I think Disney's going to get slammed too. All right, Disturbed Nerds, that'll be all for today. It's time for us to sign off. It's also pretty late here on the East Coast. It's like 11 o'clock at night, which doesn't sound late, but
She's
how do you
old.
find out? Oh, you're older than me. No.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
but I don't
You're
go to
in a
bed until
different time.
12:30.
You're in a different
It's
time
10
zone,
here.
okay? That does not count.
Anyways, that's it for today, Disturbed Nerds. You guys are wonderful. Thank you for listening to our rambling. We hope
Yeah,
maybe
can we
you
even
learned
call it a
something.
podcast anymore, or is it just us complaining?
No, it's still a podcast. But thank you for listening to our wonderful rambles. Hopefully you learned something. If you didn't, you should like re-listen because you need to learn something. Um,
Ouch. But we hope to welcome you back and talk more about geekery and lore and nerdums. That's not words.
but until next time,
All right.
I'm Keely and
I'm Caroline. See you later, Disturbed Nerds.